Let's podcast back inside Eford Studios alongside Joe Giglio. I am Joe Ovies. Big thanks to Empire Properties and thanks to Copiers Plus. Check them out online at copiers-plus.com. Print management, document management, get all your stuff to the cloud. You know, cloud management is amazing. I just got back from a hockey tournament in Philadelphia and I didn't have to do any sort of scorekeeping. It was all done in the cloud. So I didn't have to track down a grandpa to write everything down for me. Can you help me? No. It was on this app called Game Sheet. It was amazing. It was all real time. Imagine doing that for your business. That's what you can do with Copiers Plus. So check them out online at copiers-plus.com. These are difficult ways to start shows because people tune in knowing that we're going to talk about the stuff that we all saw. And typically we try to keep things relatively light, while at the same time, given the state of triangle football, at least trying to have a little bit of fun with the angst that's taking place both in Chapel Hill and in Raleigh. However, real life is here. And Tylee Craft passed away after a 2-year battle with cancer. He had lung cancer. The team had rallied around him. Over the last couple of weeks, you got the sense with an uptick in Tylee Craft stories that it was going in a direction that we were going to have to come to grips with his passing. And you kind of got the sense, I was all over the place on Saturday, but through the magic of technology, you can go online and find these things. And Joe, you kind of got the sense that Mack Brown, who talked about it leading up to the game against Georgia Tech, that once it was announced that he was going into hospice, that a lot of the players are going to visit him. You know, if anybody who has been in this situation understands when somebody is going to hospice, you have a limited time left. So players were visiting. You saw a lot of social media uptick, prayers up for Tylee and more, donate to Jimmy V, cancer research, anything, right? GoFundMe's, everything else. You kind of got the sense as they dedicated the game to Tylee Craft on Saturday that I can't confirm this obviously, but you kind of got the sense that Mack Brown found out during the game, and then the team was informed after the game. J.J. Jones caught a touchdown while he was wearing a Craft jersey, and they were passing this thing around. And again, it's one of those things where we're going to talk about football, but when things like this are going on, talking about football almost seems frivolous. And, our guy Paul called into the sports phone after the game was over. And this, I think he put it succinctly.
Hey guys, it's Paul. Nothing fun to say here. Fuck cancer. Prayers up for Tylee Craft. Football doesn't matter. It doesn't matter as much as family, man. R.I.P. Tylee.
So we find ourselves in a situation where we're acknowledging what happened in the real world, and thoughts and prayers for the family and the football family as well. I saw NC State had tweeted something out for Tylee Craft. Duke football had done the same thing. All the silliness aside, Duke football's social media going after Carolina social media, all that's silly. This is real stuff. So RIP to Tylee Craft.
23 is too young, man.
Yeah, man.
And cancer is fickle. 23. How do you get it, right? And then you think about, with my wife, you think about cancer, and we would always say, and the doctors would even say this, you have the good cancer.
Mm-hmm.
Because we know how to treat your type of breast cancer that she had.
Right.
I can't help but think of Michelle Doster diagnosed at the same time as Jessica.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't have the good cancer. She's no longer with us.
Stotesbury, Michelle.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you think about 23 and lung cancer, and think about all of the years and the research that had to go into quote unquote the good cancer for it to be the good cancer. So yeah, for the second week in a row, you leave a football game and you go, whew, man, let's not worry or quibble over 7-5 or 8-4 or 6-6 or whose coach did what or any of the other normal stuff. It just feels like feels like we should all just agree this whole football season's a mulligan, right? Like, hey, the less we talk about, hey, let's just move this thing along.
Yeah,
let's get to basketball. We were down in Charlotte last week. It was kind of nice.
It was a little bit of a breath of fresh air to talk about some other things, right?
From the on-field struggles of football, but obviously, yeah, I mean, 23 is just, that's not enough.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll add to this is, while the football team and the coaching staff and the family can be prepared for this because it's been going on for a couple of years. In two instances in my life, like especially with my friend Laura, who had a tumor in her brain or on her brain. This is something that they kind of tried to mitigate 5 years or so, but at some point, there's only so much you can do. It's happening. It's just a matter of how much can you get out of it, right? And even though it's going to happen, it doesn't matter. Once it actually happens, it's like it's a completely. You can prepare yourself all you want, but that doesn't mean that when it actually happens, you're ready to deal with it and grieve. And obviously, when it comes to grief, it happens in waves. So again, it's just something I wanted to acknowledge before we got into the matters of the silliness of football and where NC State and Carolina are going in general. So with that being said, let's hard reset and let's talk about what you typically come to us to hear us talk about and react to, and that is the wonders of triangle football. So let's actually start with the Tar Heels. Our friend JC Zembel made a very, very good point with the way that game ended against Georgia Tech. That might be the Mack Brown, Giovanni Bernard, Tom O'Brien moment, right? Where that's a game, as well as Jacoby Criswell has played, as you can see, you can see incremental improvements around Jacoby Criswell, but you got to cash it in there late, not settle for a field goal. Okay, they had a chance to win that game, everything aside. So they have to kick a field goal. You're thinking, all right, see where this thing goes. And instead, what was a 68-yard broken off run? And the same issues for Carolina's defense present themselves. Hard time tackling. Linebackers continue to be a problem. There's your ball game, right? And as I was kind of processing how this all kind of ended, Carolina football fans, all they can do at this point is laugh, because it's like, how many different ways can we lose a game, right? And this stretch of football for the Tar Heels has certainly been an adventure, right? You got your JMU game, as we all discussed. We discussed ad nauseum what happened with a 20-point lead against Duke, and they ran it down their throat in the fourth quarter, and Duke ends up erasing that 20-point deficit and wins 21-20. In the game against Pitt, it came down to, okay, well, we got to pick our poison. How are we going to combat Pitt, given how they've been offensively this year? Ended up coming down to quarterback play. Holstein had a really good game. And then in this particular case, here you go with Georgia Tech. Again, it's a pick your poison situation. Georgia Tech has been known to run the ball down North Carolina. So do you try to stop that? Or you're going to try to stop Haynes King, who has been pretty good this season for Georgia Tech? Well, they chose the Haynes King route, and then what Georgia Tech did was put up nearly 400 yards on the ground on the Tar Heels. And I know Carolina fans are probably wondering, what the hell was Jeff Collins brought in for? This is not a Jeff Collins problem. I think we all understand where North Carolina as a program is headed. We're looking at the end of the Mack Brown era. So the question that I would have for North Carolina fans is, what do you want the program to be post Mack Brown? Because at this point, you can bring in any defensive coordinator you want. You can bring in Nick Saban to coach up that defense. At some point, the through line is the types of players that Mack Brown has brought in to play defense has not been able to, regardless of the coordinator, execute the way they theoretically want. There's just something missing there every single time. And I don't know if that changes as long as Mack Brown is the head coach. I mean, we've had 5 years of defensive issues for Mack Brown. But if you really wanted to be real about it, it goes beyond the 5 years for North Carolina and these defensive issues. And I just don't quite know what the answer to it is, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, really got to go back to Butch Davis to see a defense when the program was kind of built off of their defense.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a long stretch. I mean, listen, again, almost feels like last year with the Panthers. Like, honestly, like, where is that? You're looking for that fast forward button. It's 4 in a row for them.
Yeah.
Now you throw in this tragedy that they have to deal with. They have the open date comes at the right time for Carolina.
Yeah.
I always say this, that players bounce back much more quickly than the fans do. And obviously the last 2 weeks, the last 3 weeks,
they'll get up off the mat.
They keep fighting.
Yeah.
And again, they're in these coin toss situations. And now they've lost 3 coin tosses in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You figure that luck changes on you a little bit, especially with the open date going up to a Virginia team that's probably not as good as what their record suggests. And that maybe that gives you a little bit of hope as you close this thing out with Virginia, Florida State, Wake Forest, Boston College, and then State. NC State and Carolina are both in the same boat. They have 3 wins, and they're trying to get to 6 to make a bowl game. Irony alert that no one will play in.
Yeah. And again, I said this last week, we are headed towards a situation where the last game between these two teams will come down to who's getting a 6. That's where we're headed. I know what you're saying. You look at the schedule and go, where are the wins?
Right.
Now NC State has to, travel across country to go play Cal. Cal's not a slouch, obviously. So that's going to be a difficult game for NC State. And to your point, yes, Carolina finds themselves in a similar boat. I do think they can, the rest of the way, they can probably find 2 more wins. Because you never know. It's college football. It's a weird sport, obviously. And just the way triangle sports works is that's probably what we're going to end up with. At NC State, it's, what do you want to, I can say with Carolina, the positives are there's something there with Jacoby Criswell, right? I think with NC State, I think most fans are going to come away from that loss to Syracuse with a similar sentiment around CJ Bailey.
Doesn't really help you, Jacoby Criswell, though. Isn't this his...
I think he has one more year.
Okay.
He's got one more year. That's why he came back, and they were kind of slow walking him to get back on the field. So he's got one more year. I think.
Yeah.
I have to go double check on that.
No, I'm just saying, like, in the era of the portal, like.
Oh, well, if you're gonna make a change, if you're gonna make a change at coach too,
yeah,
then,
man, I don't think you're hanging your hat on Jacoby. Not in the same way that I think they're in a different situation where you're sitting here going, okay, well, what pieces would the next regime want? I think it's pretty clear at State, Dave Doeren's going to be their football coach next year.
Yes.
They're going to have a new offense coordinator. They're probably going to have a new offensive line coach as well.
That's where I'm at with NC State, because I think what Saturday crystallized for me is that the Robert Anae offensive coordinator experiment is over. And this is now 2 years in a row where it was positioned as, all right, here's a guy who did this at Virginia. We're going to recreate this with Brennan Armstrong. Obviously didn't go that way. And the excuse was last year, well, maybe we were underselling how good Virginia was at the skill position to make all this stuff work.
Sure.
Cool. Granted. Got you. So this year they go out and they get those skill position players. This is a talented bunch. Let's take the offensive line out of the equation right now. This is a talented group, and the frustration is, why are you not putting a talented group in the best position to win or do something offensively? And the simple answer to that is the offensive line has been atrocious this year. But also, there's some. I know coaches get really, really annoyed when fans and media start getting into the intricacies of play calling. But Joe, I mean, if you were back to your yellow pad, let's count them up. You're wondering why Casey is getting 1 target. We're looking at situations where why is Raphael, like in the last game, getting what, a carry or no carries in crunch time? So you start to like play that game, and I think at this point, after 2 years of data, or as we're accumulating 2 years of data, it's pretty clear they're going to have to go in a different direction with offensive coordinator.
I think you're missing one of the main pieces here too. And it's hard to pull apart the different yarn threads.
I know.
But the truth of the matter is there's no Brennan Armstrong without Robert Anae, right?
Sure.
So if you want to go back Inception style or whatever movie or whichever gemstone you want to do this with.
Sure.
MJ Morris is your starter last year without Brennan Armstrong.
Yes.
And he's probably your starter this year. Mm-hmm. And regardless of where MJ Morris is now and what he did last year and all this other stuff,
doesn't matter.
I will take a 4th-year player starting for the 3rd time over the current situation, even as promising as CJ Bailey is. I'll take the older guy who's been in your system. MJ Morris would be at this point, right? So that you pin that on an eye, because there's no way that conversation didn't happen. You hire Robert Anae, you say, hey, evaluate my roster. What do we need?
Quarterback.
Hey man, I think I can get us there with my guy from Virginia.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Fair.
You didn't get there though.
Oh, we saw that with Ryan Finley.
Now, what Anae did do last year was he was creative with Kevin Concepcion. He did make the best of a limited situation last year. But this gets back to what NC State's identity is. You can't put the blue collar hand in the dirt quote on the wall and then go out into the portal and get a bunch of players. And then, by the way, not play them. They're not on the field enough.
That's like right.
Ultimately, this comes down to you're not using, not only are you not involving your players in these play calls enough, they're not on the field enough. Okay. I don't know if I found religion this weekend or not. I went to an SEC game. And
that's right. You're up in Tennessee.
Not only did I go to an SEC game, but all the games you watch before are SEC games. So I'm sitting here watching South Carolina, and you could clip it, save it, Ipte, do all you want. South Carolina's got a better roster than you.
Oh, stop it.
I'm being serious.
Stop it.
I am being serious.
I will clip it and save
it.
So when Clemson beats South Carolina, go ahead.
I'm sure they will.
That's a Caleb DeBoer, Alabama problem.
No. I'm just saying, watching these games,
okay,
you realize all of the SEC teams all of them have talent. They have bigger and faster players, and they have more bigger, faster players than the ACC does.
Okay,
all of the teams do. Because I'm sitting here thinking all the people I know at Tennessee and shout out to my guy Jason Baum for helping us out this weekend. All the people I talked to this weekend, they're like, "Oh, Florida always plays us well. Florida does this." I'm like, what the hell are you people talking about? Florida sucks.
They do suck.
Then I show up. I'm watching Florida. Sure as shit. Offensive line looked really pretty good to me.
Yeah, but
their defensive line looked pretty good to me.
Joe, God, did you fall this hard back in high school and college?
Potentially, I found religion. All I'm saying to you is,
you just fall hard because you're not. Now explain Miami, Florida.
What do you mean? The game itself?
Yes.
Oh, Miami. That's the other thing. But this gets back to our week one conversation. We'll never give Miami credit for what they did to Florida. Are we? We're still not giving them credit for what they did to Florida.
I actually have a wonderful clip. We'll get to lightning round that blew my mind.
What I'm saying to you, though, is when you see something and you realize, okay, it's not a slogan. It does. It means more to them. It does.
Okay. I feel like you're watching career opportunities, and Jennifer Connelly is on the mall coin operated horse, and you're just like discovering a woman for the first time.
Beautiful Mind.
No. That's a different movie. Okay. Name a Jennifer Connelly movie where she's not amazing, right? And so I don't know. It's like you're watching the SEC, and you're like, whoa. Oh, now
Tennessee wasn't even that good. I thought Tennessee.
You're 13 years old. You're watching MTV and the White Snake videos on. You're going, oh,
Tawny Katane. Yeah. She died during the pandemic, and I took a couple shots to her because I was like, man, Tawny. No, man, I'm just telling you. I realized that watching those two teams play, I'm like, ooh. And South Carolina, you did not watch the South Carolina. It's
no,
okay.
I didn't.
It's okay.
I mean,
it's okay to say it.
Shane's still the head coach, right?
Shane Beamer. Still probably an issue.
Okay.
Still probably an issue.
I just want to double check.
Probably an issue. They're athletic as all get out. Anyway. So watching these games, you sit there and you go, but they become coin tosses. My main takeaway from the whole weekend is there's one elite football team in the entire country, and their name is Texas. That's it.
Yeah.
So for all the people who were tweeting at, speaking of clip it and save it,
right?
For all the people who were tweeting at me, well, according to the rankings, the most talented team is actually. Well,
careful.
Don't do it. Okay. I would just say to you, I was right. Okay. Texas was the most talented team last year. Big shock. Texas is the most talented team again this year. I left this weekend going, there's one elite team in college football. Okay. That's what I did. Now, we'll find out more about Texas. They've got Alabama coming up. They've got Georgia coming up. We'll see what happens. But ultimately, I watch these games and I go, the ACC is playing at a completely different level than what the SEC is playing at. That's back to state where we are.
About wholesale change. We could probably dive into this a little bit more as the week goes on. Dave, this is going to sound, I'll just put it very bluntly. Just be freaking Iowa already. Just be Iowa.
You can be Iowa and attempt to score. Iowa scored 40 points this week.
I know that. I know what I'm saying sounds ridiculous when Iowa disappointed the country by actually scoring 40 points.
Right.
Like that's not. Be who you're supposed to be, Iowa. What I'm getting at is I know what I'm getting with Iowa. It ain't pretty. It'll win you some games. Now, you can get into division talk and all this other stuff. But the point is, I know what you are. And I feel like this year, NC State got away from what they have been under Dave Doeren.
I don't think it's any secret that Dave has longed to be Iowa.
Just go do it then.
Okay.
Just do it.
But I do think there has been one significant difference. If you had watched Iowa last year when their totals were like in the 20s,
yeah, something like that,
they would actively not try to score. Like they would actively like play for a field position and punts and some other stuff. I will give Dave credit to say that was not quite his mindset. Obviously, he struggles with a double-digit lead. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he struggles in this idea of, hey, I just built a team this year based on adding a bunch of parts out of the portal and then not using those parts. That doesn't make any sense.
You mentioned the offensive line. I know it's like, how can you be this old and not be good? It's like, well, experience doesn't mean jack in the grand scheme of things. Sometimes you just are what you are. And I think it all kind of came home to roost. Was it 3 trips into, not inside the red zone, but at least in a position to score. And the biggest, what do you want at NC State? What's in the nutshell situation is a completely uncovered dude rocks CJ Bailey and he fumbles the ball. Like, what are you going to do in that situation?
Well, the real takeaway from State this weekend is you also have the same thing of the Carolina. It's very analogous to the Carolina Panthers watching DJ Moore urinate on them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your State, you show up. I said again when I was right. I told you Syracuse was going to have the year that State and Carolina wanted. Mm-hmm. I told you that. Mm-hmm. You're watching Syracuse and you're going, huh? They have a new coach. He's got that fresh new car smell.
Yeah.
They look like a team that enjoys a new message because every once in a while you need a new message.
That's fair.
They also went and got Ohio State's quarterback. They got, one of the big prizes out of the portal. Mm-hmm. And so you're State and you're sitting here going, no, why doesn't our portal quarterback look like that? And you're just sitting here going, man, that was a tough one for State fans to watch. That was a tough one.
Yeah, I agree. Housekeeping. It's brought to you by Enovana. Check them out online at enovana.com. ENOVANA, Green Cleaning Solutions.
If you have mess inside your mansion or trash in your cabana, get it clean with Enovana.
Little bit of housekeeping here. ACC Panic Room will drop later today. You can thank Potomac Mills traffic for that happening. I had every intention of doing a panic room yesterday when I got back from Philadelphia, but traffic on I-95 around Baltimore into DC, into the Potomac Mills area was not cooperating. Are you a Google Maps guy?
No, I use whatever's on my phone. The
Apple Maps. Yeah. There's Apple Maps, there's Waze, there's Google. I'm a Google Maps guy. I always have been. And it's bad when it goes from orange, the timer, like, oh, you have 6 hours left to your destination, right? And it's orange, indicating, you got some traffic on the way. You're gonna have some slowdowns. No big deal. When it goes from orange to dark red, not just red,
you're in trouble.
Yeah, almost black.
Okay.
You're like, dude, I am screwed.
Okay.
And it's even worse when you're in standstill and you really got to pee, but I made it. Anyway, so ACC Panic Room will be coming out a little bit later on today with me and Lauren Brownlow. It's very Halloween-y here up at Eford Studios.
It is.
And we're going to get in the Halloween spirit.
Kind of mystery on that one.
Yeah. Well, we know who did that. Shout out.
You think?
Yeah, it was totally Leanne. Absolutely Leanne.
Okay.
So, but we're going to be in the Halloween spirit when we visit our friend Matt Davis, State Farm.
Yes.
We'll have an OG live on Halloween night.
Sir.
Up in the office. I will be rocking a Jake from State Farm red polo. It'll be the first time Giglio sees me in a polo. I'm very excited about that. Call Matt Davis today at 919-779-8277. You can check him out online at insuregarter.com or the oginsurance.com. Home and auto. Speaking of your home, you might be looking to sell your house. You might be looking for a bigger house or a different kind of house. Well, Hometown Realty can help you out here. myhtr.com is the website. Buy, sell, calculate. Most importantly, you do this with confidence. We're not talking about guaranteed offers. We're talking about maximizing the value of your home or putting you front and center when it comes to buying a home, especially new construction where they know the secrets to incentives. So check them out online at myhtr.com. Let's say you bought that house. Let's say you were driving back from the Philadelphia area and there were various speed traps, but you made it out without a ticket. But let's say you did get a ticket. Well, Whitaker and Hammer can do that for you. They can help you out. Attorneys and counselors of law, everything from closing a house to dealing with some speeding tickets, small business issues. By all means, check them out online at wh.lawyer. And speaking of homes, it is gorgeous out right now. Gorgeous. You don't want it ruined with bugs. So go to bugsbite.com. You can bundle and save with our friends at Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority. We are coming out of mosquito season, but that doesn't mean you can't be thinking about next year and packaging the two together with Mosquito Authority and Pest Authority, or thinking ahead of how you can improve your outside situations like things with misting systems. So again, bugsbite.com. Again, that's bugsbite.com. So I listened to the entirety of the Panthers' fourth quarter against the Falcons on the radio.
Okay.
And poor Jake Delhomme. They started running the ball with Chuba Hubbard. They're moving down the field. And then Andy Dalton throws a pick. And then the Atlanta Falcons go down the field by running the ball, and they get to the end zone. I mean, just with ease, they get back on the other end of the field. And they decide to throw the ball in a goal line situation. And Jake Delhomme's like, man, I don't care who's calling the play. If we've been running the ball all damn on this series, I'm going to run the ball again and just punch it in. And he's, bringing up his old offensive coordinators. Like, I have D'Angelo Williams. I'm going to just give him the ball in this situation, right? So he was incensed that they decided to try to throw the ball in that situation to put the game away. And then they handed the ball off. They scored a touchdown. And that was your ball game. And as I'm hearing this, I had two immediate thoughts of how can we talk about the Panthers differently, right?
Okay.
So let's start with the one way we've been talking about the Panthers.
Tell me something good.
All things considered, the Panthers have a functional offense. Yes. Did they have a dumpster fire offensive day against the Bears the previous week? Yes. But you saw in this game against Atlanta that they have a functional offense, all things considered. Andy Dalton and the pieces around Andy Dalton and their offensive line play is good enough to win you some ball games. So that's the something good. The problem is their defense isn't good enough to put you in a position to win ball games, as we saw down the stretch against the Atlanta Falcons. So my first thought on what can we do to talk about the Panthers differently, it's the who are we going to trade today? Okay. who can we use to replenish our draft assets? I feel like there's probably some sort of little jingle we can do. Like did
I send you the Frankie Louvu locker room clip?
No, you did not.
Yeah. Well, this is Tell Me Something Good. So
it's another Tell Me
Something Good.
We're only -5 in the first half.
Hey,
that's an improvement over there. They were -74 in their first 4 losses.
Brutal
in the first half. So being more competitive in the first half is to Tell Me Something Good.
Okay.
Me throwing water on you and telling you it's raining is don't ever watch what Washington is doing with Frankie Louvu. It'll hurt your brain because the reason they don't have him is because the owner was like, no, we got to play a 3-4.
Somebody in Pittsburgh. So
I mean, defensively they're a mess, and
they're a total mess.
There's not an overnight fix for that
because
obviously.
They're hurt too.
Well, there's injuries for sure. Yeah, missing Derek Brown.
Right,
we're finally getting a full year of J.C. Horn, but
yeah,
cool.
At what cost? Yeah. It's the monkey's paw. It's like cool. But everybody else is hurt, right? So not only were you depleted because of the moves that you made.
Email.
What is happening here?
Here's a mail that never fails.
I know why.
Gotta wag my tail.
I know why.
That is the clip I did send you.
You did send me that. No, I know what happened here. I know exactly what happened here. I had to like tie in my phone. I had to tie my computer into text messaging because I could not get my phone to charge over the weekend.
Oh,
like it's like, no, I refuse to. I had it plugged in. The little lightning bolt showed up and it was depleting battery. I'm like, what is happening right now? So my phone died and I had to tie things in. So hopefully I won't get any more texts from Kelly during the show. Anyway, where was I? Yes.
I mean, they got old school problems now. You got penalties. You got a defense that can't stop anybody. You got turnovers. I mean,
so radio bit number 1 is who we trading today.
We trade today.
I'm gonna text Kyle. I'm gonna text Walker. I'm like, here's your radio bit for the day. Who we trading today? I can think of 2 guys.
Surely someone would have a use for Deontay Johnson.
Two guys right now. I got two guys for you. Deontay Johnson, that was last week's. Who are we going to trade today?
Oh.
Okay. This week, there's two obvious choices. Chuba Hubbard, who was very productive in this game. And then, because of the injury to Aiden Hutchinson with Detroit, broken leg,
Jadeveon
Clowney.
Okay.
Because I saw today's like, well, I mean, if you're Detroit, I mean, you got to make a move for Myles Garrett. I mean, basically they're going the LA Rams route, like just go all in.
Cleveland trade Myles.
Do not know.
Garrett.
The obvious choice to me is to take a market inefficiency and Frankie Louvu's bad boy and just go get Jadeveon Clowney. If you're Detroit. So those are your two guys.
Okay.
The other bit, which we can't do tomorrow, and I got radio on the brain because I spent a lot of time driving around Philadelphia.
Yeah, when that
radio.
happens, you
my brain starts going, right?
Yes.
You're listening to WMMR in Philadelphia where it's like, it's an all Disturbed weekend. I didn't realize Disturbed had more than just one song, When the Bodies Hit the Floor. Anyway, or I heard the new Linkin Park.
What year is it that you're hearing these songs?
No, it's like it was crazy. Like WMMR took me back to 2002.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
So anyway, I want to do like either Tuesday or Wednesday where we do it's your 100% Panther free guarantee. Because really, what else are you gonna say at this point? We're trying to milk conversation. Like again, last week we're in Charlotte. I told you about the darkest sports radio timeline up in Charlotte. Where I'm listening.
Rushmore of ice cream flavors or something
They're doing a tailgate draft in October, buddy. Guys, you do that in July. That's a July 5th. You just got back from a party blowing stuff up and doing the cookout, man. That's the topic you do then. A condiment draft, okay? Not on October 10th. No. So I'm thinking, just don't talk about the Panthers. So you hit like the big, WWOG 100% Panther free guarantee weekend. Is that a good idea?
I like it.
Maybe I can get Brian to come up with some ridiculous radio stinger. Double shot Tuesday. No
shot Tuesday.
No shot Tuesday. So yeah,
no nut November.
Actually, there would be no nut November. No, right. It's just that's it. Right. I don't even know what that sound effect is. I got it. It's the OG No Nut November.
Just as long as you don't shave to the creepy mustache, you'll be fine.
So yeah. Do you want Tuesday or Wednesday to be a 100% Panther free guarantee?
Wednesday feels like it's the safest day.
All right. So
because we still like YouTube money. I mean,
no, I agree. I'm just saying. So yeah, because I do have no. I can still SEO that shit.
Oh, as
like 100% Panther free guarantee. Panther free guarantee. All right. So you want to do that Wednesday?
Yeah.
All right, we'll do that Wednesday. Elsewhere in the NFL, I mentioned the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
Absolutely clowning the Dallas Cowboys, which gets us into a mini segment within a mini segment calling which franchise is more unserious, the Dallas Cowboys or the Philadelphia Eagles?
Boy, it's a race, isn't it?
Trick question. They're both unserious franchises. Let's start with the Cowboys. You know what I want to do when I get my ass handed to me by the Detroit Lions at home? Let's go to the media scrum with Jerry Jones, who makes himself available. He goes out there, his wrinkly ass old face, going
on his birthday,
no less. Oh, it's my birthday. Dude, I get that he's always been the main character, but at some point, even the best TV shows have to move on. Actually, there's another sports radio summer topic. Which main characters are actually the worst main character, like the least interesting main characters in their show, right? Like I used to watch a show called How I Met Your Mother.
Okay.
Remember that one?
Yeah, of course.
And the main guy who's telling the story about how he met his mom was easily the worst character on his own show. The other characters were better.
Sure.
So that's Jerry Jones at this point. He is the worst character in his own show. So they're all around him like, oh, how does this make you feel? It's like, oh, well, you don't want to be embarrassed at home like this. It's my birthday and all this stuff. Completely unserious organization for bringing back Mike McCarthy, giving Dak Prescott the contract. If you're going to double down, you double down. Double down. But they didn't do any of that stuff. And now they're like, I can't believe this is happening to us. They're getting pushed around on the line on both ends. You are a completely unserious franchise at this point, which gets us to Nick Sirianni and the Philadelphia Eagles. Twofold. I was listening to WIP. When they weren't firing everybody on the Phillies staff, but dude, I thought of you as I'm listening to in another weird alternate timeline. I got a Joe Giglio on my station, on my radio, ripping Trey Turner. I'm thinking,
no,
my Joe Giglio would never dump on Trey Turner. They hate that contract. They don't like Trey Turner. They think he's a bum. And I'm just thinking to myself, Joe Giglio needs to come. I need Spider-Man poning meme where I got Joe Giglios going against each other, fighting over Trey Turner. That's what I need in my life. Maybe I should reach out to Joe Giglio of WIP. So when they weren't ripping the Phillies for losing to the Mets on like every show at all hours of the day.
Because postseason baseball is just totally and completely logical and predictable. Yeah.
Totally. I think they wanted to bring back Gabe Kapler. Now, you want to talk about like what year is it, right? I actually texted my father-in-law because they're from up that area. And as I'm driving into one of the hockey rinks, it's the Joe Giglio show, and I think with Hugh Douglas. And they're taking phone calls, ripping the Phillies, and they're like, all right, coming up next, we'll talk some Eagles football with our friend Dick Vermeil. I'm like, what year is this?
Still with us?
Dick Vermeil's still with us.
Is he?
Yes, Dick Vermeil's still with us, and he still calls in as a guest to talk about football. So I texted my father like, ripping the Phillies and talking football with Dick Vermeil. Is it 1980 something? What are we doing here,
Is
right?
Vince Papali on there too?
Where's John Bunting? Get him on the phone right now.
Bunting and Dawn.
Anyway, so they bring on one of their gambling guys.
Yeah, as one is wont to do.
And they're talking about the Eagles and the Browns.
Oof.
And apparently the Eagles were 9-point favorites against the Browns. And the betting guy goes, I don't know what Vegas has seen out of the Eagles that makes you think that they're a 9-point favorite against the Browns, unless they think the Browns are so in the tank with Deshaun Watson that even this Eagles team that has struggled, everything looks difficult for them, is going to be a 9-point favorite against this Browns team. Of course, the Eagles do not cover in their win against the Cleveland Browns. And I can only imagine what WIP sounds like right now as Nick Sirianni was jawing with Eagles fans after the game and being a complete dick in the postgame about it. Buddy, do you want to be fired? Are we in a Costanza situation? Are you trying to be fired? Speaking of Dick Vermeil, why don't you go on WIP and just MF him? That'll get you fired in a heartbeat. So anyway, two completely unserious organizations. Oh, speaking of completely unserious, speaking of the Cleveland Browns, I can't find the stat, but I saw a stat floating around about just how bad things have gotten offensively for the Browns. Like the Browns are 0 for 26 or 0 for 28 on third down conversions with Deshaun Watson. Something nutty. Again, I don't have it in front of me. And everybody's asking the question out loud, why the hell is Deshaun Watson still starting? Because I can't imagine that their head coach, Kevin Stefanski, my job is to win football games. Do I think that Deshaun Watson is a guy who can help us win football games? The answer to that is no. So the only thing I'm left with is ownership has told Kevin Stefanski under no circumstances are you benching that man. At this point, if I'm Kevin Stefanski, I go in that office today and go, I know what you want me to do, but here's what I'm going to do. And you can fire me right now because I know what my contract says.
Yeah, they're a mess. And I think on the program last week, I was like, man, that Bryce Young trade was the worst. And I was like, no, because I thought Cleveland had signed Deshaun Watson. No, I forgot that they actually traded for them. So yeah, that actually is the worst trade in NFL history.
Has to be.
And when people often ask me, I was raised Catholic, and when people often ask me about religion or, hey, I do tell them quite clearly, I believe in karma. And here you have Deshaun Watson making some poor choices, to put it mildly, with massage therapists and basically not being legally punished for it. Well, Here's your punishment, man. You get out of the universe what you put into it.
Yeah.
He's a terrible. He is, as the point has been made several times by a lot of different people on social media. He's a better person than he is a quarterback right now. Think about that.
That's saying something.
Think about that.
That's pretty frightening, actually. So Caleb Williams,
We're back. He's back, right?
He's balled out the last 2 weeks.
We're
right?
back in the Caleb hype, the Bears hype train. We're back.
So I had two thoughts as the Bears.
Only the Bears can beat the Panthers and the Jaguars, and people be like, "See,
Let's go.
I told you."
So it's funny you mentioned that because those were my two immediate thoughts in seeing the result of Caleb Williams. I didn't watch the game. Caleb Williams and the Bears trucking the Jacksonville Jaguars. I had two thoughts. One, I'm bad at fantasy football.
Oh, yeah.
I'm bad at fantasy.
I'm terrible this year, too.
And here's the reason why. So shout out to Alex, who's part of the Joe Wagon League.
Yeah.
He texts me saying, "Hey, man, are you going to set your lineup? Or am I going to be playing a zombie team this week?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" "Oh, that's right. Kansas City's got the bye." That would explain why I'm seeing a bunch of Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift going out photos from the weekend. Got it. So I went to the waiver wire and I picked up Caleb Williams because I'm thinking, oh man, the Jaguars are bad. Maybe Caleb Williams can get something here, right? So I picked him up on the waiver wire. I could not do anything with my roster until 12:15 on Saturday. What did I forget to do, Joe?
Actually put him in the lineup. So lo and behold, when I open up social media and I see, have a day, Caleb Williams, 4 TDs. I'm like, would you? So I have him.
I texted Alex. I go, congratulations. Thank you for reminding me, but you also needed to remind me, hey, set your lineup too. So there you go. I'm like now 0-6 in fantasy football right now. It's bad. I'm terrible in the Joe Wagon League. It's just reminding me why I don't do fantasy. Maybe that's why, somebody has to lose. So maybe Riley's going to invite me back for the Groove Wagon OG fantasy football league because somebody has to lose.
Terrible too.
It's just terrible, right?
We'll all be invited back.
The other thought I had was, all right, so Doug Peterson's next, right?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry. You just signed Trevor Lawrence. So clearly, which that's another topic altogether.
Yeah.
But, we already fired Robert Saleh because it's easier to fire the coach than it is Aaron Rodgers, who you've basically acquiesced in every shape or form. So now we get to Doug Peterson. Buddy, you're next. All right. Nick Sirianni, you're after that.
I'm gonna say if Sirianni doesn't beat him to it.
So they won this week. But then again,
McCarthy.
jawing with the fan. Oh no, McCarthy's gonna make it the entire way.
Okay.
They're gonna make it the entire way.
Okay.
That's what that's about. That is what that's about. And finally, Drake May got his first start, baptism by fire for the New England Patriots. Speaking, we talked about NC State and a bad offensive line. Patriots have a bad offensive line. Drake May, 4 sacks, 8 hits, 2 interceptions. Did throw a few touchdowns, but yeah, the Patriots' problems go well beyond who the quarterback is. And seeing just the highlights of just how much pressure Drake May was dealing with, I can understand why Gerard Mayo insisted on starting Jacoby Brissett early because he's like, I don't want to send you out there to that.
Yeah,
that's bad. Very, very bad.
People were like mad that they weren't playing him, and it's like, can you guys just play the long game once
in your life? Just play the long game. You know what does an amazing job in a cold ass rink in Philadelphia? What? A home field hoodie. So if you ever find yourself in a cold ass rink on an early Saturday morning, you know what you do? Put on that home field hoodie under your coach's jacket. So there you go.
Do you know who the SEC means more to than us?
Who's that?
Home field.
Wow. So
it was pretty cool. They had one of their pop-up tent things.
Oh yeah.
They do a tour. They do a college football tour.
Yep. Was Josh there?
Josh was there.
Nice.
It's one thing to see, and you know me, I'm a big, let me touch it, let me feel it, let me see it kind of guy.
Yeah.
I almost bought a bomber jacket. Almost.
Why didn't you?
Because
I saw some state
what
bomber
am I going
jackets.
to do with an orange Tennessee bomber jacket? I liked going there, but I'm not going to rep Tennessee. Come on, man. I mean, I got the dog. I'll wear it later in the week. But
yeah.
No, their stuff is so good. And guess where they're going to be next week? Oh yeah, Texas, another SEC school. So good for them, man. They do such great stuff and jackets, hoodies, the different throwback T-shirts. I was trying to explain home field to my friend Jason Tanner's dad, intern Tanner's dad, who we drove to Knoxville with.
Yeah.
I was trying to explain home field. He's like, I don't really know what home field is. I'm like, well, they sponsor more than 80 podcasts.
Yeah.
And I said, here's why. I said, podcast audience are younger, 20s and 30s. And what they do is they have, I use the air quotes in the car, throwback logos that people in their 20s and 30s remember from when they were kids.
Yes.
And then they sell you this stuff, high quality stuff, great shirts, great everything. And sure enough, we get there and I'm showing him the pop-up thing. He's like, that is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. So go to homefieldapparel.com. Did you tell him to use OG274 if he goes online to save 15% off his order, Joe?
I did. And, I say it just means more, but that's during football season. Not going to promise anything for Josh, but it does sound like there might be something in the works during basketball season for people that come to a pop-up event with home field.
Ooh, I'm excited about this. Big thanks to Happy and Hale for being a corporate champion.
Let's take a break. Let's take a hockey break. Brought to you by Happy and Hale.
We're going to take a hockey break in lightning round here in a second.
I was going to say, can we get Alec Campbell on the phone for tomorrow's game?
Oh, what, playoff-like game?
Is it a
against New
must-win?
Jersey?
Are we there?
Let's save that. Let's save that for lightning round. In fact, what we might do is I might call Alec today.
Please, yeah, we should.
And we'll just do a very simple old man Alec Campbell. No. And then we'll just move on, right? It's like what we used to do with
your boy, Jerry Palm.
Jerry Palm over at CBS, where I just asked him, hey, is NC State in? No. All right, thanks, Jerry. See you later. I will be going to Happy and Hale today for lunch because, folks, I am completely over beige food. Man. So, we're in Charlotte last week.
Ooh.
A lot of beige food at hospitality, man. Tendies, buffalo shrimp. I mean, mistakes were made. Okay. So, team building event, we go to a Topgolf, which put a pin in that. I'll get back to Topgolf in a second. You basically get the kids platter, which is just like also an adult's platter if you think about it, because it's chicken tenders,
pretzel
hush
bites
puppies,
or whatever.
Oh, dude, they had little corn dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. But again, just more beige food. My stomach's not really happy with me right now. So I need a little bit of a cleanse. So I'll be going to Happy and Hale and going to Smoothie Town later today. I will also be going to the gym because, yes, I can eat right, but I also need to sweat this evil out of me. So head on over to O2 Fitness.
O2 Fitness, so much more than a gym.
O2fitnessclubs.com. I know Giglio is going to golf today. Are you going to O2 Fitness tomorrow to
That is the plan.
Fix yourself after you go golf?
That is the plan on our journey. I was in the car, I was doing my pull.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready, man.
Nice. Very, very nice. So
while I was impressed with the football at Neyland Stadium, man, those bleachers can do a job on you.
Oh, your neck has to be in bad shape, dude.
It's not great.
All right.
Great.
But Renew Physiotherapy can help with that.
We're on with our journey because O2 is more than a gym. Headed down to Seaboard. Lots of parking. And that's a bonus downtown now, sir. So head on over, get yourself fixed up, whether it's Loop with their nutrition plans, whether it's the Renew physical therapy, or whether it's, hey, I want to get on a treadmill. Cool. They can do all those things.
Big thanks to Nature's Relief. Check them out online, naturesreliefhempstore.com, RELEAF hempstore.com. Let's go through the Ovies couple of days here. Stressing the hell out through technical issues in Charlotte for ACC tip-off and getting a podcast out in a timely fashion. Then getting in a car after hitting publish on Thursday to drive 9 hours to Philadelphia to meet up with the Junior Canes 13U White Squad for a hockey tournament. And dealing with the entire weekend with a bunch of 13-year-olds. After a while, that's going to get to you. And then what was supposed to be a 6.5-hour drive back from Philadelphia to Raleigh ended up taking 8.5 hours thanks to traffic. Do you think that when I got home, I didn't get into my bag? I absolutely did.
You needed to. You get a little bit of rest.
Whew, I feel good, though. I'm like refreshed, ready to go. Voice a little groggy, but I slept nicely because of my friends at Nature's Relief hempstore.com, RELEAF hempstore.com. Check them out. You got a bunch of questions. You have specific needs. They can target those needs at Nature's Relief. Big welcome to our friends at Sam Jones Barbecue in downtown Raleigh. I know our Greenville friends know all about Sam Jones, and barbecue aficionados are aware of Sam Jones Barbecue because of the history going all the way back to Skylight Inn. Joe had never had Sam Jones Barbecue until last week.
I even said to you, like, was that really the first time I've had like actual Eastern chopped barbecue?
Yes.
I think it was.
It was.
I think it was because I was like eating it. I'm like, because I'm normally not a barbecue person.
Right.
Normally not.
Right.
And we got the turkey, and I was like, man, this turkey's really good.
Turkey's amazing.
The mac and cheese was really good.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm eating all these things, and then the beans. I told them the beans would be my new fastball.
But barbecue has to be the main thing, Joe. And I'll say this, and I said this to them.
Then I had the revelation. I'm like, wait a second. I've been here for 30 years. I don't think I've had this before.
So you had a moment that I had. Okay.
Yeah.
And when I talked to talking to the guys over at Sam Jones, I was being completely honest about this. I'm not just, blowing smoke up their, speaking of the smoke, right? I'm not blowing that hickory smoke up their rear ends. Eastern North Carolina barbecue never really clicked for me because I was having bad Eastern North Carolina barbecue, just doused in vinegar. It just didn't hit for me.
Yeah. And
then because I'm a curious guy, I read about Skylight Inn out in Ayden, North Carolina. So people were just, again, it's a historic place. It's been written up a ton. Never really had a chance to go out there. So I literally made a day trip out of it. Kelly and the kids, we went down to Ayden. We had lunch there. We went to Goldsboro to go check out the Tryon Palace and all that stuff, right? And when I had Skylight Inn for the first time with the crackling mixed in with the barbecue, I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense. The smoke comes through. The flavor comes through. The pork is actually doing the work here. That's key. That's the first time Eastern North Carolina barbecue clicked for me. So the history of the family, you have Pete Jones. It's now Sam Jones. They opened up a spot in the Greenville area back, I think, in 2015. And they've been now in downtown Raleigh for a couple of years. And if you're like Joe, who's some out-of-towner that never really clicked with barbecue, and you're saying, what's the big deal? Sam Jones can do that for you. But like you said, Joe, they have a bunch of other stuff too, and catering is always clutch.
Yeah, go check them out. It's 502 West Lenore Street, downtown Raleigh, on the other side of the Red Hat Amphitheater there. Check them out at samjonesbbq.com.
Now, I know a lot of y'all sent this to us. We were going to break it down.
All right, let's do it.
We're going to break this down. There was a fight that took place in the student section at Carter-Finley Stadium during the NC State Syracuse game. Our friend Aaron Beard texted us, and he made a very, very good point, and I noticed this too. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see two NC State, I'm assuming students.
We got leather pants and a cowboy hat.
Yeah, leather pants with one and a belt with, I think, some either kind of dyed streak red hair. And then we have the Haley Welch look with the other woman.
Yeah.
Flare bootcut jeans, the flannel, the cowboy hat, really, really long hair, right? And I had the same thought as our friend Aaron Beard because we're both Star Wars brained. I see this and I'm thinking, if there's a fight that's about to go down, well, one person has the high ground, Joe.
Yes.
So I can see the
you underestimate.
Well, we'll get to that in a second because I think there's a twist here. There's a twist here. So I'm looking at the woman with the cowboy hat. She's on a bleacher that's above the person with the red streaks in her hair with the leather pants. And my first thought was, whatever is about to go down here, the person with the high ground is going to win. I hope at some point she said to this other girl, "It's over, red streak girl with the leather pants. I have the high ground." So in the video, she flips the hat. All right. So, okay, hold on a second. So right off the bat, as we go back, she flips the hat. All right. So boom, hat's over. You are instigating in that point. The minute you flip somebody's hat like this, it's like we go back to the Dave Tepper situation at the Dilworths. Man, did the grown ass man just take my hat off? This might actually have to be either you're going to de-escalate this or it's about to go down. Well, it went down. So cowboy hat girl smacks her across the face. Leather pant girl.
Big hand.
Like, just a huge, like we're talking Russian slap fight video level slap across the face.
Yes.
Now, much like Bart Simpson, The Simpsons, I want you to say the line, Joe. Do the sing song.
You underestimate my power.
See, where Obi-Wan was right is that Obi-Wan had long hair, but it was a bob. It was like chin length, shoulder length hair, not enough to grab. See, girl with the boot cut jeans and the flannel with the hat that got knocked off has like ass length hair.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a gigantic phone.
So yeah, that's the max there. So that's where, like in the video game Call of Duty, the last stand, like you drop a grenade after you get got, right? Yeah. She decides, oh, no, you underestimate my power. I am grabbing this hair and taking you down with me into the bleachers. Of course, they do the cat fight thing, and then the guys step in. Now, my personal favorite here is, okay, right, hold on.
Leather took that shot pretty good,
she took it really, really well. Let me scroll back here as we're watching on YouTube. All right, here's this guy with this hat.
Don't they look old to be students?
Buddy.
That guy's not a student.
Are you sure he's got a mustache?
That guy's not a student.
He's told
the interceder there.
All right. I want you to focus on this face. Look at this man. Look at this man right now. Again, if you're watching on YouTube, this makes more sense, but I'm going to describe for the podcast audience. The shit-eating grin on his face right now.
Oh yeah, we should probably note both leather and cowboy hat are attractive. Yes.
Okay. The shit-eating grin on this man's face is like, I hope somebody got this on video and sends it to me because I need it for a little private time. This man is like, oh, yes. Yes. So I'm not really interested in talking to either of these people, although I might be interested in talking to the dude in the hat with the mustache.
Security in the bright shirt?
Yeah, there's a security. Yeah, the security's getting in there.
Right?
Security's getting in there. So, okay. Oh, there's another guy. Look, again, here's another dude.
The guy in the background.
The guy in the background right here. There's another guy.
Looks like
that guy definitely looks like a student.
Yeah.
So he's got like the Bama bangs, and he's watching these two. He's like, oh man, this is about to go down. This is great. I hope somebody's getting this because if things don't go the way I think they're going to go tonight, well, I'll have this to watch when I get home, right?
And once again, her phone is really big.
I love how of all the things your phone, like I'm watching these dudes who are clearly getting their, it's like, oh shit, here we go. It's about to go down. Hell yeah.
How is she so wholly unprepared for that swing?
Alcohol.
Yeah.
And that must be,
he is like laughing.
Wait. Yeah, I just noticed this. Let me scroll back.
Who caught the stray there? Is that her girl? With the phone?
I mean, did she catch a stray? Yeah, she caught a stray right there.
From the other guy.
No, so that dude.
Or is that a girl?
Okay, here, this guy.
Don't know.
This guy's got a bottle. Is that a Sprite or is that a vodka bottle? Or is it a Sprite bottle with vodka in it? Look at that. Something's getting out there.
Is
that a flask?
Ooh.
I think that might be a flask.
Is he holding a phone too? Is he trying to break up a fight with two hands?
Hey, look, man. These kids today, they multitask.
The youths. Yeah, they are good at that.
The youths today multitask, man. Anyway, yes, thanks to everybody who sent us that video. That was our best estimation. If I have any takeaway from that video is that some dudes had a little private time after watching that.
The lightning round.
All right. The Carolina Hurricanes did not get off to a great start on Friday night in their season opener against the Tampa Bay Lightning. Saturday's game obviously postponed. They were supposed to go to Tampa, but Tampa's going through it with another hurricane. So they're back in action on Tuesday against the New Jersey Devils, a playoff preview with the hot shots New Jersey Devils. My only takeaway so far this season is I absolutely love that Rod is not here for your goalie questions the rest of the season.
Okay.
I don't know if you caught this or not, but he said, I got 82 of these games. You're going to ask me 82 times. You're going to find out who's starting with everybody else. So they went Freddie in game one. Don't ask Rod who's starting on Tuesday because he's not going to answer that. He's already over it.
Yeah.
And we just started the season.
Seems like an odd choice, though. I think this year, the premise of this year was you were turning the reins over to Peter Kochetkov.
You would think
by not having him even as a nominal opening night starter seems like a curious choice to me.
I'm not going to get to
something tells me there's probably some analytics involved here, like what Freddie's record is against the Lightning compared to what Kochetkov's record is against the Lightning would be my guess here. That would be my guess, but it is a curious decision. I'm not going to lie to you.
No, I'm with you on that. But I do think that maybe the questions about goalie are immaterial to what we're going to see. With again, it's a decent chunk in the roster turnover that isn't going to just light the world on fire in game one. I think this year, more than anything, we're going to have to rewire expectations for how the regular season goes. Last year was about a carryover, running it back. Here's your window. They're the national darlings to be a Stanley Cup favorite. They're not going to be that this year. So what do we know about Rod's system? When you guys come in.
On defense in particular,
Especially
which is
on
where
defense.
the biggest changes are, it takes a minute.
So it's going to take a minute. I think they're going to kind of be figuring some things out throughout the month of October and a good chunk of November.
And
so I'm not getting too wrapped up.
Yeah, and if you only saw the final score here, you would think, oh man, they got crushed.
Two empty netters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they have
when
a 1-0 lead.
when they pulled.
They have a 1-0 lead. They give up a power play goal in the second, then they give a power play goal in the third, and then you have two empty netters. So really, it was really. If not for those two empty net goals that actually count, it would be a 1-goal loss.
Our radio people told us that you take away those runs, and we outscored them by 19. So
there you go. Take away those last two, and it was really only take away the special teams and the empty nets. The Canes won 1-0. Okay, that's the real way to look at this. 5-on-5, the Canes won.
Topics that get up, Giglio's roll back it up. Well, I know what we'll do, a lightning round.
I know you can't exactly see what's going on with my shirt right now. I am row backing up.
You are row backing up.
Do you know what's on here?
Yeah, it's a bunch of like Washington, D.C. things. America, baby.
Can you see America?
Yeah, I see the flag on the back. That's good. That's a good tag. I like that from the row back. We'll do the row back read here in a second.
I was just killing a couple birds. That's all. We got a capital on there.
Yeah.
G-Dub.
Mm-hmm.
Fireworks. Liberty Bell. The lady.
Why are you wearing that today?
The flag.
Is it Flag Day? I didn't
Ben
realize
Franklin.
Isn't Flag Day in June?
Frederick Douglass. An eagle. Lincoln Memorial.
Mm-hmm.
They did a really good. My guy Ben did a really good job.
No, it's a great looking
Holy
shirt.
smokes!
It's a great looking shirt. I might need to get that for the tournament in March, because so kids have a tournament in DC in March.
Oh yeah,
I might have to get that row
this
back
is
for
the
the
quarter zip. My first venture into the quarter zip. So
okay,
enjoy it.
Okay.
It's a good one.
So you were talking about South Carolina, Alabama,
yeah,
and you were basically falling for I don't know, man. The SEC, it just means more, man. It's just built different, but
it is.
You didn't go far enough.
What did I do?
College game day. Kirk Herbstreit gets on the set, and here's the clip from the game day Twitter. We are seeing a different Vandy. Here's the clip.
They had the ball for over 40 minutes in that game. There's a few things. Number one, their defense isn't getting pressure. You know, they have to sit in pressure. If they don't bring any kind of pressure, they don't get after the quarterback. And I think that plays into what you're saying about third down. But the trash talking from Alabama, just one thing I used to text Coach after he'd win a national championship or a big game is, man, I really always respect the way your teams play, the way they play. You really didn't see a lot of them talking to the opponent. This Alabama team this year, they're more busy talking to the opponent and the opponent's fans than they are about executing. That's all brand new, in my opinion, for Alabama. Malachi Moore, who came out and apologized, kicking the football, just not Alabama to me. So hopefully they clean that up and focus on the game. Let me just say this about Vanderbilt. They have a $300 million project right now going on with their facilities and their stadium. Clark Lee, I was blown away when he was a defensive coordinator at Notre Dame, just an impressive leader. I think that's paying off. He brought this quarterback in. But I think we're looking at it like old Vandy. Like, wow, Alabama lost to Vandy. This is a different Vandy. Yeah. Now, we'll
stop it right there. This is a different Vandy.
They did follow it up with a win over Kentucky this week.
Great.
And they already beat Virginia Tech.
When Wake Forest was doing this, it's a 1-for-1, folks.
It is.
A 1-for-fucking-1. Wake Forest dumps a bunch of money into their facilities.
Has a pretty good quarterback.
They're winning with Dave Clawson. What does Kirk Herbstreit do? Does he go on the game day set and say, well, we're seeing a different Wake Forest? No. He does is he goes on there and basically acts like, well, why should we be talking about Wake Forest just to appease their 8 fans? And he looks at his co-host and he's like, high-fiving him, like, got that joke on the Wake Forest. I got that jokes. It's bullshit. I like to not curse on this podcast, unlike Joe Giglio. However, when I see stuff like this, can you all not see it? And this gets back to the conversation we had with Jim Phillips at ACC Tip-Off. This is the problem that the ACC ultimately faces. When a perennial doormat in the league in the ACC steps up, how is it viewed?
Oh, it's a bad thing.
Terrible. This
The
is
league
why
is
your
down.
This is why your league sucks.
Yep.
No business losing to this, right? But when it happens in the SEC, we get, oh no, we're seeing a different Vandy, y'all. No, we're not. No, we're not. Absolutely not. And by the way,
both things be true.
no, they cannot be. They
No, I'm
cannot
saying
be.
your point is correct about Wake Forest being different.
Okay.
Don't put Vanderbilt down just because he's making the mistake of not picking Wake Forest up.
I think the biggest, actually, I think
Again, the guy who they got from New Mexico State. And my mama told me you'd never learn anything gambling. Well,
yeah.
not true.
Yeah. I'll say
Their
this.
quarterback transfer from New Mexico State. He's been a baller, dude. He's been a baller.
I'll say this though. I think buried in all of that is the way Kirk Herbstreit was talking about Alabama with Nick Saban sitting right there.
Oh, there's a little bit of rub and tug going on there.
Yes.
When you were in charge,
Right.
You know, none of this show of emotion ever happened.
Kirk
I used to
Herbstreit.
text you. Wow, you're really classy.
Way
guy.
to just slip that in there. Like it's one thing to name drop on just a normal game day thing. Now you're name dropping with the man literally right next to you. You know, when I used to text you back then,
Yeah.
right?
When I was sending all my kids to Clemson to beat you. Yeah.
So I do think this is yet another stack on the fire of Alabama and it getting away from, people acting as though Nick Saban isn't like a singularity in coaching.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the Alabama I know. No. That's a Nick Saban Alabama. Nick Saban Alabama is over, and no other coach you can bring in is going to make that out.
Not even Kirby Smart, because they continue to look like a train wreck to me.
No. All right, two more quick items. I want to shout out our guy, Patrick Stevens, over at the Washington Post, because this was absolutely brilliant. Southern Cal has struggled this year. So in the Washington Post, Patrick Stevens has, let's play a game of mystery coach, shall we? Behind door number 1 is coach who went 24-9 in his first 33 games at Southern Cal. Behind door number 2 is another coach who went 24-9 in his first 33 games at Southern Cal. Behind door number 3 is another coach who went 24-9 in his first 33 games at Southern Cal. Behind door number 4 is a coach who went 22-11 in his first 33 games at Southern Cal. You have Pete Carroll, Lane Kiffin, Clay Helton, and of course, behind door number 4 is Lincoln Riley. It's over for him.
Why Lincoln Riley is not the Cowboys coach, I don't know.
Well, as things will progress, wouldn't be surprised if that's where we end up, right?
We've got a lot to get to. It's a lightning round.
All right, finally, I sent you and I'm going to pull a Kirk Herbstreit here. I texted you and Tom Dundon over the weekend.
Yes, you did.
Because I went to a Topgolf in the Philadelphia area, in the King of Prussia area.
Nice.
And I sent you a photo of the
Good malls.
No Brainer Club, I think it's what it's called.
Yeah, I still don't know what this is.
Dude, I'm asking another golfer, how serious do people get about what's clearly an illegal club? Like, there's no way that club is a sanctioned club. Like, I can't roll up to qualify for the U.S. Open somewhere at some feeder course with that club in my bag, right? Right?
Joe, why would it be illegal, though? Unless it's like boosting you somehow,
Dude.
illegally launching the ball. It's not illegal.
Dude, I was, because again, look, you've seen me with clubs.
Hey, you were much better with that 14 than I thought you would be.
Sure. And when I got to the Topgolf, I was not asking, excuse me, sir and madams, do you guys have a 13 wood left-handed club here on site? They would have kicked me out, right?
Yes.
So they advertise the like Sure Thing Club. So I was like, okay. Because, the whole point of Topgolf is that it's kind of like bowling and they're trying to make it easy.
Fun.
It's a fun spot. It's supposed to be fun. So they're going to make it even easier for the novice, right? So I get out there with that club.
Were you feeling good?
Dude, I was
hammering it?
striping it. I've never hit a golf ball like this in my life.
You should have just offered them to buy it. They would have sold it to you.
After I hit it, I looked like one of those dudes in the end zone at Carter-Finley Stadium watching two women fight. I had a grin on my face. Like,
You're
yo,
like, maybe I should take up this golf thing.
yo, can I take this thing to the next OG Classic? Because holy crap, this is an amazing club.
Oh, man.
So I just wanted to ask, like, is that frowned upon if I were to like break that thing out at an event?
It's not an illegal club.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. Big thanks to our friends at DraftKings. It's funny, when I'm out of town, I get different DraftKings options. So again, in the Pennsylvania area, totally different DraftKings experience, right?
Yes.
But we're here in North Carolina, where it has been an amazing few months since sports wagering has become legal. And these apps are pretty amazing because of the geofencing and all that stuff. So like, it knows I'm now back in North Carolina. You know, it's like, I'm back, I logged in, here we go. And you're presented with, it knows like, hey, you probably care more about like what's going on with the Carolina Hurricanes and the Carolina Panthers, right? But when I was up in Pennsylvania, it's like, hey, you probably care about what the Eagles are doing.
Mm-hmm.
Remember? +9 against the Browns. And if I listen to that gambling guy, they're like, don't you freaking dare do it. I should have done it. I didn't do it. My mistake. But you get all sorts of cool boosts. You get single game parlay boosts, all sorts of fun ways to do this. And it all starts with a $5 bet with that promo code OG24. You bet $5, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. It can be as simple as anytime touchdown. It can be a simple like pre-made single game parlay, which I'm a big fan of. Any number of ways you want to go about it, it's all there at DraftKings. And all you need to do is use that promo code OG24. So again, OG24, $5, get $200 in bonus bets. And it's just something as simple as picking a team to win. And it all happens at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball.
Big thanks to our friends at the Butcher's Market. I know that you want to get a t-shirt with our friends over at Breaking Tea that just like never lost a tailgate, right? You're never going to lose a tailgate with our friends at the Butcher's Market, period. So butchersmarkets.com, thebutchersmarkets.com. Pre-made meals for the week to help you out. Pre-marinated meats just throw on the grill to keep it super, super easy, even down to the burgers as well. All thanks to our friends at the Butcher's Market. Shout out to our friends at Breeze Through as well. I want to read this to you. I got a message from one of our listeners. I need to go ahead and pull this thing up. Where did it go? So we've been talking about Breeze Through just outside Carter-Finley Stadium and how easy it is to tailgate there, right? First come, first serve situation.
Yeah.
So,
I know what this is. Yeah.
So it's Saturday night. It's at Syracuse, NC State. Our guy Matt messaged me. Parked at Breeze Through for the game tonight. Walked the fam back to the car at halftime. Picked up a solo beer for the walk back for the second half. Clutch. Breeze Through. $20 to park. Can't beat it. Can't beat it.
What else do you want in this world?
I mean, it's super,
got yourself a road soda. Got yourself a parking spot.
Love it. Absolutely
convenient,
love it.
Easy.
Big thanks to our friends at Two Roosters. TwoRoosters.com is the website. You can find their rotating flavors. And of course, there's a secret pint of the month club that you can take advantage of.
Ooh, I got to head over there.
Do you have to get your pint?
Yeah.
Ooh, they got a QR code that you can sign this up for. Joe doesn't want people to know about this, but I do. So head on over to TwoRoosters.com. Also, big thanks to our friends at Roback. As Giglio pointed out earlier, he's got that Roback quarter zip rocking right now. You can go to Roback.com, use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. Again, that's RHOBACK.com. Use that promo code OG20 to save 20% off your order. Okay, let's get out of here on some Hey Joe. We're actually just going to go ahead and get into the OG Sports Phone, which you know what that means, right? It's time to hear the jingle.
919
444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't.
Okay, this came to us from a 919 number.
919-444-2211. Call the OG Sports phone and curse or don't. Fire Dave Doeren.
All right, this came to us from a 336 number at 11:20 Saturday night.
Oh, man. Where do I start? Well, first of all, Dave told all of our fans before the game, night game, get excited, drink as much alcohol as you'd like. Just make sure you stand up and cheer on third down. Well, Dave, I wish I took your first point a lot more literally because I drank a fair amount before the game, but gosh, if you didn't make me stand up in third down about 55 times. Oh, man. Well, thanks, Jim Boeheim, for motivating our basketball team to get to the Final Four. That was appreciated. Man, Final Four, great. Went to Omaha. That was exciting. So, did we go down to Atlanta for the ACC tournament and sell our soul to the devil? Maybe we did. But you know what? I'd do it all again. Prayers up for that young guy from UNC that passed. Really hate to hear that. Prayers for the UNC football team. Prayers for all their fans. Oh, man.
Yeah, tough Saturday all around. With that video,
it was a wild range of emotions.
It really was. I mean, it's kind of what Saturday was about. About standing on third down. Shout out to the State Fan podcast that had put out the video saying at least they were standing on third down.
Yeah.
So I did enjoy that. All right.
The two fighters. Yeah. Leather and Cowboy.
So we got, this came in at 11:23 from a 704 number.
Hey, self-admittedly, I was on a date night with my wife tonight, so I didn't watch much of the last 3 minutes of the state game.
I'm going to pause it right there. It's a wise decision.
Good move.
That is a clutch move, man. Like, why am I going to waste my time watching State Syracuse? I'm going to go on a date with my wife. That is a clutch move. But you still got to check in. That's what apps are for, right?
I don't really. I still have hope for some reason. And I think really it's in Doeren. Is that I know y'all talk about how just historically it's a 500 program, but these past couple of years it has not been. There's been, I've been happy with the results. I've hated that we've missed the opportunity to make the ACC title, but at the end of the day, this is not a 500 program. These past couple of years, this has been a program that's been competitive. This is a program that's created excitement. This has been a program you can be excited about, and maybe I'm delusional, but I just want Doeren to have time to go through. This is going to be a down season. He's going through it this year, but if he does it again next year, I'm not going to speak as kindly about him. But at the end of the day, I almost want him just to be even and just have some time, figure it out, and then whatever the equivalent of the College World Series appearance for, whether it's an ACC championship appearance or I guess it just naturally would be into the playoffs. Like, that can happen in the future. I just want to be patient. I don't know if that means I'm defeatist and I've given up, but I think we as State fans just have to pause and just say, this is not our year. The roster didn't work out. We're going to move forward and possibly things are going to get better in the future.
It sounds like a man who had a good date night while also thinking about that. This man called it 1:00 in the morning from a 919 number. Let's see what we got here. I know you got to go, but let's get through this real quick.
It's 1 a.m. and I'm driving the bus.
Oh, it's our bus guy. It's our bus guy. Okay, what we got here?
Back home. I feel like I need my cup of Joe. Yeah, I wish we had an emergency vent session, but that's okay. We've got Boise State and Paul Ione in the bus.
Which, real quick, that Boise State running back is legit. Anyway.
As we're headed home. I'm not going to get into my usual bitch fest. I'm too tired. And quite frankly, Doeren's just worn me down. But I do have a question for you, Joes. At what point is it going to be unacceptable for NC State football, for our coach who's been coaching for 12 years at the same school, to stop losing to first-year head coaches? Syracuse's coach has coached 6 games, and he knows how to pick a better quarterback. And I mean McCall versus Kyle McCord out of the transfer portal, and knows how to win. I don't know if he's going to work out at Syracuse, but this is not the first time Doeren has lost to a first-year head coach. And I'm just sick of it.
So you mentioned this, and I think that's a carryover effect, like Mike Elko, right?
Yeah.
Now, the Mike Elko thing, as things were running hot with Duke with Mike Elko, and that gave us the shit be happy we won, right? That season, because the inflection point was the Duke game. And
and Duke beating the brakes off Clemson to start that year.
Yeah, and then they beat State, but that was the point. And I think that's where the season has really gone off the rails for NC State. I looked at the Wake Forest game as the classic Dave Doeren reset moment where they go, all right, we're done.
Yeah.
Let's go out and have the Dave Doeren special. That clearly is not going to happen now this season.
No.
And when you do this is the double whammy, the other side of the Dave Doeren special. You lose to a Wake Forest team that's clearly going through it. It's one thing to lose to a Wake Forest team that's running hot with Dave Clawson. It's another to lose to that team, right?
Yeah.
And then you get as our guy with the bus points out, here's yet another new, fresh coach that's here, got everybody motivated, and then you can't, right?
Yeah.
So I can see where that might actually be me understanding now the breaking point. It's that, look, man, I get it, but this keeps happening to you. Something's got to change. All right, last one before we get out of here. This is from a 512 area code.
Hey, Joe. Your friendly neighborhood Cowboys Wolfpack fan, Noah here.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Oh, no.
Jeez.
No,
Can we
Noah.
send him something? Can we send Noah something? Do we get any more bourbon over there we can give him? Anyway.
Just reflecting on the weekend, and it's bleak. It's real bleak. The Cowboys, definitely not them boys. The Wolfpack, them boys. Well, you know, when you think about it, maybe the Cowboys are them boys. Maybe this is them boys now. But I'm not sure if the two teams combined are going to win 10 games. And the Cowboys got 17 of them. So, yeah, looking rough. You know, I was never really a basketball fan until about 5 or so years ago when my Abilene Christian University Wildcats, because I went there for undergrad, knocked off Texas in the tournament. I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm looking forward to basketball season.
I'm just going to end it right there.
Not alone.
I'm going to end it right there.
Not alone.
I have done this long enough in this market where NC State fans, for the first time in a long time, First time,
really, maybe Jules' junior, senior
I'd have
year.
to go back to 2004.
Yeah.
Right?
Because Carolina was still no Roy. So, yeah.
So it's been 20 years
since those words have been uttered.
20 years since those words have been uttered by State fans in mass.
But here we are.
Whew.
That's behind me somewhere. There it is. There it is. ACC champions.
Right.
Live it up.
That's going to wrap it up. We'll see you all tomorrow for a Tuesday 100% Panther free guarantee. Or we're going to do that Wednesday.
Either way.
One of these days, we ain't talking Panthers. See you then.